But one of the things about so land and home is cheaper, but there's a reason that the home is cheaper because in a way it comes unfinished to an American expectation. So talk a little bit about that. What did you find out?
Yeah, I think one of the things we discussed with the developer and the builder was, these send these great pictures of what the place is going to look like, and again, these are just designer drawings. So one of the things we found out is that, like in the kitchen, there's no appliances at all. There's no air conditioning. There's no any appliance in the kitchen. There's no dishwasher. There's no clothes washers. There's none of that. So you have to figure that into your budget as well. And then, like in the kitchen, there's no upper cabinets. And like in America, you have an upper cabinet that you have above the kitchen counter. That's not included in it. And then any kind of upper cabinet at all. And then if you look at the drawings of the designer, you'll see things, stone on the wall and things like that. That's not. That would be anything like that you'd have to do yourself and work with a contractor to install. So those are some things that you'd have to calculate into, is how much do you want to finish your building from a bare home to the home that works for you and what you're used to. So I think that's something you should need to calculate in there, and that price could be anywhere from $10,000 to $40,000 additional dollars.
Yeah, I would think so. So let's put that in dollar figures so people have a realistic expectation. That is typical of Thailand. So Thai people do not expect that the builder chose the refrigerator, chose the stove, for instance, foreigners, I think I've come to expect a dryer. But nobody uses a dryer here because it's so hot. It's so hot that people just put it out to dry. I mean, we've got clothes right there and it's dried within less than an hour. So they don't use the energy for dryers, but it's up to you. You'd probably want a dryer if you lived here. So I think the dryer is nice, makes the clothes a bit soft. I could put a little smell in there with the fabric softener. Everybody has a different expectation. So let's say you go into the kitchen. You might have a German electric stove, or you might have a Thai gas stove. Thais would probably prefer just a basic gas stove. And they prefer to cook it outside. So there's another thing, is very few Thais would want to cook inside the house because they're frying up garlic and things like that. And so they would get a gas stove, which would be very cheap, to put there'll be like a deck or something usually next to the kitchen. You just one door away, just step out so that the smell goes outside. Instead of buying ventilation, the whole thing is ventilated. Modern homes probably have both now because Thais are also used to having a maid. So the maid might be working on the one outside. The mother, the wife, might want to cook something inside, smaller, as she wants to. So the whole culture plays into the design of the house. Yeah, I've noticed little things that are different. This will not matter if you don't have two stories, but culture is in the house. Culture is in the house. So in Thailand, you don't have the stairs right away, usually. In Australia and in America, when you enter a home, do you see the stairs right away?
Sometimes in some designs.
Yeah, I often see that. I'm trying to think of our home. You'd see the stairs before you get into the kitchen. In Thailand, you often do not see the stairs until you've passed through the kitchen or passed through a living room. So you enter into community. That's the first thing. In America, often you enter and a teenager or whoever's living in your house can immediately go to the stairs and go to their private room. And they're out of sight. You won't even know if a child has entered or left the home because the stairs is the first thing that you see, or one of the first. It could even be a feature. Some of the southern homes, it's like you enter and there are, the beautiful grand stairs. So culture is in the home. So you will find that Thais don't finish, and you might feel like, well, then it's not a complete home. I understand that. So you do have to budget. I would say, depending what you want, I would rather say not 10, but say 20 to 30, 40,000. Let's say 20 to 40,000. Depends what you want. I think things are cheaper here. Like a lot of the labor for Curtains will be cheaper here. And we'll put up a package. So now that we know that this is like may seem like extra work. So what we'll do is the Western style is we will give you the options. And we will create options that's very easy. So you don't have to be here trying to manage, curtains and cabinets and shelves, because I'm from the West as well, so I understand. So I'll talk to the team and say, let's make the package very clear. And then you have a very clear, maybe 2 tiers of prices. Do you want this kind of finish? Do you want that?
I think that would be helpful to, I'm only speaking for people in America, is that knowing what the finishes are that the builder is going to provide. Yes. And seeing what that tile is they're going to be putting down on the floor is. It might be acceptable, and you might like it. It might be in a very ugly color, and you're like, no, I don't want that in my house. So let's not install that. Let's install something else. And it might be an upcharge to do that. But I think it'd be, for at least Americans, and I think in many other countries too, that knowing exactly what the builder wants to install or is plans on installing would be very helpful.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's easy to fix. So one positive from coming to visit is we're going to make it more accessible to Americans, because these are unfamiliar steps. Yeah. But if you consider the prices, under 200,000 for the 1 story, a little over 200,000 for the 2 stories, then you should have some budget left over for all of the finishings and stones and all that. I believe in Australia we had to select. So the house price varies greatly. Actually, I bought a Pulte home, and I'm not trying to advertise Pulte, but I had a lot of process selecting every single thing, and it greatly increased the price of the home. So they tell you a price, but man, it blows over $100,000 just to get the finishing. So I can assure you, unless you're wanting Italian marble, that you're not going to be paying $100,000 extra. We have an option to put in a pool, so we were talking to another buyer who's doing that. So we're working on those things as well. As you can see, you're in this tropical weather. The pools don't need to be heated. It's just great, right, to have a pool. So that's an option.